1946, the MiG Bureau developed a rocket-powered design called the I-270. It flew in 1947 and achieved a climb rate of 3 minutes to 48,000 feet. Even though rocket engines did not lose power as they gained altitude, they had poor endurance. The I-270 could only fly for 14 minutes. Rocket power was not the answer. Already MiG and rivals Sukhoi and Yakovlev were working on pure jet design. There was no suitable jet engine. But in December 1945, a Kremlin conference resolved that captured German engines would be copied for Soviet use. When the MiG I-300 jet fighter prototype flew for the first time in April 1946, it was powered by a BMW jet engine. The production version was called the MiG-9. 550 were built between 1946 and 1948. They were powerfully armed with one 37mm and two 23mm cannon. Already the Cold War was beginning, and the NATO system of code-naming Russian aircraft began with the MiG-9. Two-syllable names meant jet power. If the name started with F, the aircraft was a fighter. The MiG-9 was code-named Fargo. It had the first Soviet ejection system designed by Artyom Mikoyan. Mikoyan was awarded the Stalin Prize for the MiG-9, but the stress of the project led to a heart attack. Another factor contributing to Mikoyan's stress was MiG's intense rivalry with the Yakovlev Design Bureau. Yakovlev is located just 2 miles away from MiG on the same highway into Moscow. During the Great Patriotic War, the Yakovlev Bureau was the leading Soviet designer of fighter aircraft. The Yak series of piston engine fighters was outstandingly successful. Alexander Yakovlev was a figure of great power and influence in the Soviet aircraft industry. He wanted to produce a jet fighter, but wartime success had made his bureau too busy to experiment as MiG had done. Yakovlev decided that his new aircraft would use components of the Yak-9 piston engine fighter to the greatest possible extent. In effect, he simply installed a jet engine in a piston engine design, locating it underneath the fuselage and strengthening the tail to protect it from the jet exhaust. The Yak-15 had a tail wheel, which was quickly found to be unsuitable with a jet exhaust. When the Yak-17 appeared, it had tricycle landing gear with the nose wheel housed in a bulge under the forward fuselage. In post-war Moscow, the air shows at Tushino Airport were a great attraction for the Moscow public. Here they had the opportunity to see new Soviet aircraft for the first time. Joseph Stalin's son, General Vasily Stalin, was commander of the Air Force of the Moscow Military District. He organized these spectaculars at which the new jet aircraft MiG-9s and Yak-15s appeared. Until 1947, severe restrictions were placed on pilots of jet aircraft. They could only fly straight and level and perform the mildest maneuvers. But as more familiarity with jets developed, these restrictions were lifted. Pilots were able to explore the potential of the new planes and enjoy the challenge of flying them. Joseph Stalin was intensely interested in the development of speed in the air. He ordered detailed reports on the performance of each new jet prototype. The introduction of Soviet jet fighters into service opened up a new world for Soviet aviation. It was a challenge for pilots, certainly, but a vast range of new problems, fuel consumption, engine wear, armament, and high-speed stability affected the whole of the industry. The large design collectives, scientific institutes and groups manufacturing aircraft engines and armaments were well placed to respond to the severe challenges of this revolution in power in the air. We will return to